If you live in Arizona or you follow any real estate news, you might have noticed that there's this $20 million listing in Gilbert, Arizona, something that is unheard of for the East Valley. So today I want to ask the question, is it actually worth $20 million? Let's dive into the details and why I think that it might just be a little bit out of reach, but you never know. So first, I've pulled up the house here, and this is what it is. So it is, let's maybe get a little more user-friendly of a... So I've got the house pulled up here, $19,995,000. 5 bedrooms, 6 baths, 9,300 square feet, massive, 4.3 acres, also massive. They go into details here. I'm gonna have the link in the description for this. If you are interested, you can check it out, but it's got a 4,000 square foot spa. And then if we go through the photos here, you tell me so far off the bat, is this a $20 million house? So right here, we see this really, pretty sick go-kart track, massive house, an upgraded interior, but it's a super unique style. Might be a little more rustic, not necessarily the black and whites that we're seeing. This is a closet. Yes, that closet is 2 stories. Just in case you needed a dining room table in your closet, you're prepared. Folding laundry, ironing. It is pretty sweet. Kitchen. This one looks like a prep kitchen. Going through the house here. Movie theater room. Of course, $20 million, you got that. Great pool. Covered patio. This hot tub seriously looks like a pirate ship with the fireplace. Pretty sweet. And then this is the spa. We're seeing here. Garage. Okay. Here we go. It's pretty solid. You can have masseuses come to the home itself. Great bathrooms. Sauna. Shower. It's not bad looking, right? It's got a ton. Full-on barn, probably like a man cave of sorts. You can see a golf simulator. This is a full-on dancing studio. Pool table, very rustic. Gym, VR headset chairs, because of course, why not? Guest room, barn, and then here's the go-karts with its charging. Shooting range, because of course, you're in Gilbert, you might as well go shooting in your own home. That's going to be pretty standard, obviously. Full covered, not enclosed, but covered basketball court. My guess is there's going to be misters. There's going to be a lot to make sure that this stays nice and warm. Roof patio. This thing's nice, right? So, there's more photos, and you can go check it out for yourself. This thing is sick. My question is it worth $20 million? So, if we take a look at the property, just from what we know, and first of all, it's located in Gilbert, Arizona. Let's find the exact little area here. So if we zoom out, we're going to be here in South Gilbert. So here's going to be Santan Village. Here's going to be Agritopia, my absolute favorite neighborhood ever. You're going to be down here. So it's not a bad area by any means. You've got Gilbert Road here that has a ton of shops and a lot of great things going on. So it's in a great area. But the question is, again, is it worth $20 million? So I have the actual listing pulled up here. This one's going to be a little less user-friendly to go through, but I'm going to highlight the sections that are important to you. So the first thing that we're going to notice on this property is that it's actually not city. What it is county. So what that means in Arizona, which is super rare, a lot of the old farmland or like non-HOA neighborhoods, they're county islands. They can be transformed back to city, but a lot of people that buy them, they might be wanting to do, for example, like what these guys did, add their own go-karting track on their property. If you're in an HOA neighborhood, in a $20 million home, you're probably not going to be able to do that. Your neighbors are probably not going to love the idea of that. So county can be a pro, but it depends on the buyer type. So in this range of $20 million, typically the buyer that you're going to get is not going to want to own a property on County Island. The reason for that is, imagine that you bought this, most expensive home, potentially, we'll get to that later, in Gilbert, Arizona. And then right next door, all of a sudden you have cows and chickens and roosters and things that just won't leave you alone. Or right next to you, maybe you have a guy that just went and bought a mobile home and he places it right on the land. Nothing's wrong with either of those things, but if you're the buyer that bought this home for $20 million, you might want a little more privacy, a little more security. You might want to know that your neighbors are going to be kept, a little bit in check. I don't want to say that higher end buyers are all difficult and they all don't want difficult neighbors and they want things to be nice and upkept. But for the most part, what we see in luxury neighborhoods, they're very high standards, So something like this, if we go here to satellite view, regardless, you can ignore the tools that we're using here. These are just, some of the behind the scenes of being a real estate agent, which is, exhilarating, really. So here we go. You're going to see, if you go down the road, you've got all this, which is a new build community, which is actually really nice. I sold a home just down the street on one of these here. I want to say it was Donato. Super cool. But look at what we got here. So what we see here is you got this house, which is an absolute monster. You've got these two different parcels that are, it's funny here that this is one piece, these are two. So these, 3-4 pieces of land is equal to one of this guy's. It's pretty sweet. But then behind them, you've got all farmland. And then you go through here and, let's see if we can get our guy on the ground here. For the most part, this looks like a pretty locked in street. Looks like there's a lot more new builds, a lot more custom homes. But you might got, this guy, maybe he's got a big RV that he comes and brings by. These guys are a little bit, who knows. They might build, Lord knows what's got going on down here. You can see RVs parked in the back of their yard down here. Let's even see if we can get a little closer there. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with living this way, right? I can't put my guy there. But the point is, typically, when you're in the luxury market, city sells higher than county. You want city, not county. So now, we go back to the property here. Let's just keep diving into it. So let's just ignore the county. Let's ignore the city. Let's just look at this property specifically. Let's go here. There's the most recent closed comp here, okay? And then there's a couple canceled. So let's just go through these one by one. So the first thing that we're gonna notice here is this property was listed with Mike and Heather Steck, which, by the way, awesome people. These guys are fantastic. So I'm actually super happy that they have the listing right now, and I really do hope it sells. You've got this on market date of October 18th of 2024. Now, if we go to this one, canceled, $20 million. This was on market June 6th. That's actually the off market date. List date was February 15th of 2024. So you can see that they've already listed this property for $20 million, sat 112 days, and now they're going back to the market and they've been 174 days at, a $5,000 price drop. So really not that meaningful at the end of the day, but I like to think that Heather and Mike will do a fantastic job and they'll turn things around for them. So now we see this is the most recent time that it sold, was in 2017. And we got right here, it sold for $4.9 million. Now this is the part that I want you to look at. I'm gonna see if I can edit this together to make a little bit more sense for you guys, but this is a bit like a Where's Waldo situation. Let's just go through the home. So far you might be like, wow, that looks really similar. Whoa, is this even the same photo? I mean, you go, whoa, hold on a second here. One of them just has better lighting, but this is the exact same photo. Great angle, obviously, they kept it ear in ear. I'm just going through these photos here. Again, it might stand out to you. You might be like, I've seen this place before. They even got a movie on the screen. Is that Interstellar? I don't know, but I'll be excited to find out in the comments if you have any thoughts. Go through the bathroom, same thing, same table, same little bench. Get a wedding dress in here, super cool. I mean, it's dope, but this is essentially the same exact house that just sold for $4.9 million in 2017. So when we look at it, we go, okay, what actually is different here? So I'm gonna kind of go back to the very, beginning, and then I'm gonna go to the end of it. So I go, okay, so what is new here is this section here, all right, and then this section here. So let's go into that listing, and let's kind of find, it's a mirror match a little. So let's get a bit of a drone photo. Maybe we can get the same angle. This is actually perfect. So we're going side by side here. We see the barn, okay, and we see the end of the house right here. So what they added is this go-kart ring, which is taking up a large majority of it with a little bit of a creek, maybe a fish situation. I'm not the expert there. And then they have the spa building here. So this is a pretty hefty building. I mean, this is a super nice building. I mean, you can see that it's really well done. I mean, this thing really is beautiful. But the question is, did this go-kart ring, or track rather, and this building, let's get to that drone photo again. So did this building and then this racetrack increase the value from $4.9 million to $20 million? I've been in real estate for 6 years. Obviously, I'm not an expert on everything. I'm still learning, and the Gilbert luxury space is a bit beyond me. Why? Because it doesn't really exist, right? The $20 million scene, again, we'll get to that in a second, doesn't really exist, so I could be wrong here. But what I look at is I see this one canceled for 120 days, or 112. I see this one on the market for 174 days, and I see they added 2 separate things expecting a crazy return. I personally don't believe that this building and this building is worth more than $10 million. I mean, even if the market did appreciate, which we'll get to that point as well, I think that's a bit aggressive. So now, let's go to the next thing here, which is the Cromford report. So in Arizona, we have this thing called the Cromford report, which is a really cool index that tracks basically just Phoenix, Arizona and the Arizona market, but nationwide you can use this to show is the market going into a buyer's direction or into a seller's direction. They have weekly updates, they show city by city, and they track a whole bunch of things like inventory, buyer demand, they talk about the rates. This is a tool that is absolutely phenomenal to use, and it actually was one of the tools that helped somewhat predict the 2008 recession. So the Cromford report is legit, and this is what we're looking for here. So first of all, you can just see supply index is at 100.8. When the market was crazy in 2021, just a little bit before 2022, before the rate changed, this was at like, I don't know, 300, 400. So insane gap. 100, this is now showing that it's a neutral market. It's not necessarily a buyer's market or necessarily a seller's market, which is good for a majority of the people, but you'll see here, demand is lowering and the market overall is lowering. Supply is the only thing keeping us in check. But if we go here, we can find some historical data. So what we want to find here, my question is, if we look back to this city and we go through and we try to find what it was like in 2017 to see what it is. So here we go. I am going to pull up weekly chart and let's go Gilbert. And then we're literally just going to select 3 years. So I want to do this year, I want to do 2024, and then I want to do 2017. So we'll see that overall in 2017, the market has picked up a lot more since when it was in 2024. So the higher the number, it means more of a seller's market. So in this market, when they went to sell it, not this one, in this one, in the $4.9 million market, they had a bit of a seller's market. Even with 96 days of market, they had a little bit of an advantage there. You'll see that they wanted $5 million and they settled for 4.9. So they got a $100,000 discount, but overall, a pretty strong market for it. And then now another tool that I like using sometimes because it's a little more accessible to everybody and it can show you a great example is I'll just go to Zillow and I'll just type in Zillow market update. For market, you'll select yours. So I might do like Zillow Gilbert market update. And then I'll go down here and I'm going to the 5 years. So you'll see here, this one was sold around July of 2017. So what does it think that overall, what was the market like in July of 2017? Let's see how far back we can go here. Okay, so we are at, the average was about 308, and then now we are at about 577. So this jump by no means is it small. It's about an 87% increase in the market overall. So what that means is if this sold for $4.9 million and it had an 87% increase, you're going to be just under $10 million for what it's worth today. It's going to be worth around 9.7, 9.6, something around there. Now we go back to our question, which is, if the market is a little bit weaker today, but there's still that massive increase, and then they added this building and the racetrack, is that worth $10 million? Let's go on to my next point. So my next point here is I'm going to open a quick search. If you're a real estate agent, this is kind of what it looks like in the back end. I'm going to find in the East Valley, and you know what? I'm going to be generous. I'm just going to put everything that's not Phoenix and Scottsdale. We'll even go a little Ahwatukee. We'll go down to some lakes. We'll go deep into Santan Valley. Not that that's really going to help too much. We'll go Gold Canyon, Red Mountain Ranch, get that Los Andes area, and I'll give them a little bit of South Scottsdale. I mean, let's go crazy here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick active, okay? I'm also going to pick closed, expired even, under contract, you know what? Let's just get the gamut of it all. Let's do all. And now let's do under 5 million. So, sorry, minimum 5 million. Let's just see in Gilbert, Arizona, what has sold, is pending, or is active, coming soon. Like, what is on the market for a minimum of $5 million? Okay, so now this is the part that's super, super interesting. I picked this, I mean, I would say massive, massive area. I went and did anything that's pending, closed, expired. We'll go temp off market even. We'll go active. We'll go coming soon. I mean, dude, if this property was even on the market, whether it's sold or not, in the last, we're going decades plus at this point, because you'll notice in this checkbox, if you click it, it would make it back 182 days is the only results we get. I'm doing all the results, okay? Minimum 5 million. We only have 43 results. This is like all-time data since the MLS has been updated and kind of started to exist, which has been a long time at this point. Just for fun here, let's just go down to this one. Let's just see the date. Like, let's just go through some of these dates before I even give my example. 2022, okay. This one's 2005, so immediately you get the point, all right? So now let's go list view. Let's sort by price. All right, so now we are in all of what I call the East Valley, Southeast Valley. Basically, we're just going into Maricopa County. That's not Scottsdale, Paradise Valley. Like, we're taking out some of the historical expensive zip codes and we're going everything in the East Valley. The most expensive home here is 24.88888888. And this is temporary off market. So which means it's not sold, which means it does not count towards a comp. We flip a lot of homes and we only look at homes that actually have sold. I can go and list the house that I'm in right now for $12 million. If it doesn't sell, that doesn't mean it's worth $12 million. But I left them on here to give you example sake of kind of what you're working with. This thing is freaking majestic. I mean, look at this open way. I mean, this looks like you're going into a high-end hotel. I mean, you got that rooftop lounge. I mean, this is your indoor pool, full basketball court, fully enclosed, rock climbing gym, bowling lanes. This is gonna be your movie theater room. So obviously it's still under construction, but like, this is magical, right? Full football field, because why not? Obviously it's a render and it's got some pieces to go still. Golf, why not? So that's $24 million, and that's, you know, not sold, 77 days on market before they took it off. Full NBA indoor court, 18 garages, 2 pickleball courts, a fishing lake, a rooftop hot tub, theater, arcade, 9-hole putt-putt golf course, wellness center and cold plunge, infrared and dry sauna. You get it. This thing has everything and it didn't sell. So we're still not counting it. Here we go. We have the one on 147th Street, which is the one that we're talking about in this video. Now we have one more active at $19,500,000. So this one's clearly a deal, right? So it's underneath the $20 million one. Let's just go through and see what we're working with here. A full airplane hangar. Well, of course. Looks really cool, Spanish style. This thing looks like you're walking into a restaurant. I mean, it doesn't even seem like this would be a home. These ceilings are massive, super well put together. An elevator, well, of course. I mean, this thing is solid. It's beautiful, really, right? But again, one thing, not sold, okay? 2 things. Shooting range, of course. Bowling alley, of course. Going through here quick. You really get used to seeing all these. The address is on the screen. You're welcome to Google it later. Go check it out. Here's what we're looking for, right? Still nice backyard. Full airplane hangar. Volleyball court, golf, basketball court. So this thing, without the go-kart track, is just as nice. This thing's actually 16,000 square feet, which this one is listed as 9,000. So it's noticeably larger. 3 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms is a bit hilarious for 16,000 square feet. You're on 90,000, so it's only 2 acres. But what you're really getting at on this one is it's that you're in Pegasus Air Park. So this area, I know a couple people that were interested in looking in this area, and they're super rare, these homes, right? These are on an airstrip, so you can park your plane, live in the area, and you might think that's super distracting or that might be just a lot of noise. In reality, if you're in this world where you have a private plane, it's pretty convenient. But still, this hasn't sold. So that means it does not count towards our comps. And it's been on the market for 254 days. So let's just go down the list here. This one, $14.6 million, expired. I'm not going to go through the photos on all of these, but I know you guys are curious. So let's just take a quick peek. Let's just take a look, a little look-see, you know? Okay, is that a statue from the Oscars? I don't know. I'm not that cultured. Don't sue me. This thing is modern. It's futuristic. It's got a poker table. Let's look at the backyard. Ooh, what do we see here? Of course, full basketball court with the projector. Love that. On the lake. Okay, this thing's sweet. But again, did not sell. This was in 2022. We're just gonna go down the list here. 1220 North Kyrene. This house is awesome. I drive by it all the time, especially when I was living in Tempe. This thing has tried to sell a million times over, and it has not. So in 2004, 320 is a market. We go down the list here. This thing again, 2013. This one's different, but here we go. 2006. It's been on the market a bunch. We got this one that is 12 million Pecan Lane. Let's take a look here just for you guys. This thing is massive, of course. I mean, what else are you expecting, right? Anything that even goes and attempts this kind of price, when you're kind of making your own comps in a certain server, there's a science behind it. But this is something that still you're testing. It's an art, not a science, rather. It's a nice house. I didn't look enough the photos to really give you something spectacular. And then this one on Kyrene. This one, the thing that's special about it is its location. You're in this pocket here, and you own all of this. So you are right off the main road, but you have more land than this entire neighborhood combined is what it feels like. You have a full lake in there. It's a pretty dated home. So that's, kind of one of the reasons. But now what we want to do here is, let's say I only want to look at things that have closed, right? We're looking at things that are actual comparables. Let's go closed. And this is the exciting part. 13. So we went down from 2004 with 43 listings, with all the ones that didn't sell and are active, to now 13 have closed. Okay, let's go into our list view. Highest price one that has sold since like 2004, $7.6 million custom home. And it's that one on Kyrene, the one I was telling you about. The one that has not sold, listed at 12, listed at 13, listed at 14, has not sold more than it did in 2007. We got it again, sold one more time. So this home has just been setting records. This is since 2000, so this is even more data than I thought. Palo Verde, this one's going to be different, so I'll show it to you guys. This is basically the highest property that's not that Kyrene one that I have photos for, which is something that you'd see in like a Paradise Valley or an Arcadia, but you're getting it in Gilbert, so you're getting a discount. Let's see, 7,000 square foot, 3 acres. We're pretty close, but the other one is a little bit bigger. And then 4 days on market. So listed at 6.5, sold at 6.3 in 2024. So this is even a relevantly recent comp to work off of, right? It's just April of last year. This thing's obviously going to be nice. It's nothing crazy. And I say that, it's an awesome house, and it is crazy. But compared to $20 million, if you think this is what 6 gets you, what does double get you? Or, dare I say, what does triple that amount get you? Is it just an extra racetrack and a spa for, some maybe more outdated or more stylistically specific upgrades? I don't know. That's what we're trying to decide. And then you'll also see that this one is in city, so it's not in county, and it was done by Bigelow Contracting, which, by the way, they're awesome. They are studs in the Gilbert area. They own a bunch of really cool homes in downtown Gilbert, and they do a bunch of remodels. They're awesome people. So now let's just go back to our search. Again, all these things, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong. Nothing has ever sold for more than $7 million in Gilbert, or even all this section, which I'm being very generous on. So let's just go for fun over here. Let's go into the Scottsdale, Paradise Valley. We got some Silverleaf over here. Let's go into what is historically known as like the luxury areas. I'm doing this massive circle because it really encompasses all of it. And then let's just see what happens here. Okay, hands off the wheel. Again, we don't have a date. This went back to 2000. There are... Okay, I am still on closed. Not all of them, not active, right? And now there's 1,248. Let's just go last 182 days. So in the last 182 days, there have been 131. In the last 25 years, there were 13 in the East Valley. So now let's go to our list. Let's pop open the most expensive one sold. Right here, $21 million. My guess is there's going to be no photos. Kaboom, no photos. So a little secret here, if you're ever trying to, I don't want to say snoop, but if you're ever trying to find out what the homes were looking like when they were listed, a lot of them will do custom websites or promotions for it. So right here, I cheated a little bit earlier. I knew that, but I want to be prepared for you guys. But of course, I knew how to do that, right? So here's the property, Jonathan DeYoung. Let's go see all photos. I mean, you're in Silverleaf. You're looking over the golf course. You have the greatest view in all of mankind. I mean, there's no racetrack. It's a little bit different of a backyard, but dude, look at this, right? You are in one of the best views in all of the mountain. I mean, it looks like you're getting beat out by that guy a little bit, but I mean, this is solid, right? This is a beautiful home. This is a beautiful home in probably the nicest area in all of Arizona, and it's $20 million. So this is your comparison. Custom driveway, waterfall pool. I mean, there's nothing like this. It's hard to compare Gilbert to this. It truly is. But this is what you're up against. Let's say we took that off entirely, and let's just go back to saying anything that's sold for more than $5 million in the Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Silverleaf, all that. Let's see what it gives us. Back to the 1248, of course. The issue is there are literally so many results that now my computer is freezing. Okay. Here we go. Most expensive, 32, 24. Let's find another one that's kind of comparable to ours. So this is another one, $20 million. You got your custom garages on this side, full sport court, there's golf, pool, water slide, combo it looks like, another pool. You got a little, like an indoor, maybe farming sort of situation, guest house. I'm blanking on vocab words, but I mean, dude, you guys get it. Look at this thing. It's awesome. So this is the only photos it'll show us. You can pop in this address. I bet you can find a promotional video. You can find more about this home if you really were digging for it. Full, oh, so cool, right? But this is what you're looking at. And this one's 14,000 square feet on 2.4 acres, $20 million, and you're in Paradise Valley, which you're right here. Mountain views here, mountain views here. You're right next to Gainey Ranch Golf Course. You're right next to Old Town. I mean, you are in where people want to be, and you're not in Gilbert, which I love Gilbert, but you have all of this, and this is $20 million. And it sold in 2024. So my point in all of this is, based on what you've seen today and everything that I've given you information-wise, is the home worth $20 million? And this is something I didn't touch on because it's going to be universal for regardless of what home you're getting into, but anyone that I've talked to that is in this area where they could afford something like this or they've considered a more expensive home, they talk about the maintenance and the things that we don't see. This home has this racetrack with all these go-karts. What happens when they break? You have to call someone in. What about the yards? I mean, this is 4 acres of full-on property. Like, this is not just grass that you mow. These are all things that break, all things with utilities, all things with ACs, all things that need weed control, pest control. These are like, you legit need a full-time staff member just to manage the house. And that's to manage the traits in and out to make sure that they can come and work on the house, let alone make sure that it's, operational at all times. What happens when the pool filter breaks here? Or what happens when the water goes out right above your fountain here? I mean, there's so much on this house that you have to take care of. There's fireplaces, every single light. I mean, what happens when you change a light bulb? How many light bulbs go out in this house? These are going to be universal problems with any home that you get, but the things that we don't often think about when you're not buying something like this is the additional expense that comes with it. So this might be a few $100,000 a year just to live in the home and maintain it, which is something that's insane. Now that I've shown you everything, let me just give you a quick recap of what we looked at today. So it sold for $4.9 million in 2017. It appreciated 87% based on Gilbert's. The number might be higher for luxury, but let's just give it that. So it went to now $10 million. They added a spa building, a racetrack, and then some other additional landscaping in the backyard, and they're now asking for an additional $10 million. It's in county, not city, so historically it's worth a little bit less because a lot of the rules, the regulations, and it's a little less maintained for a buyer that's paying $20 million. Homes in Gilbert, there's only ever been 13 that have sold for more than $5 million. And there has been none that have sold for more than $7.4 million. And all of Gilbert, Mesa, Tempe, Ahwatukee, St. Anne Valley, I mean, I went wide range here. And compare that to Paradise Valley and Scottsdale, you can live on the top of Silverleaf for the same price as this in Gilbert. So when you're looking at $20 million buyers, what do they prefer? If a buyer's looking for something in Gilbert and they want something that's different than Silverleaf, could they get something in all of Arizona for less than $20 million that includes a bowling alley and a shooting range? If that's what you're looking for, I think the answer is yes. If you want a racetrack, would you rather spend $20 million so you can have the same track on your property? Or would you spend an extra, I don't know, let's go crazy and say $250,000 a year so you can have a membership to a racetrack here in Arizona? And you can go there whenever you want. And you can make sure that it's maintained and taken care of every single time you want to go there versus having someone on your own property have to take care of that road for you and the racetrack and the carts that go with it and the charging and the electricity and all the things that come with maintenance. So after everything I've showed you today, ultimately, the market will decide the price of almost any home in Arizona. So what do you think this home's worth? Do you think it's $20 million? Let me know in the comments below.